Welcome back to the Motor Index, folks. And the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs have officially arrived. We are 26 races into the season, 10 more to go in the playoffs. We're going to break down who I think is going to finish where and what, I guess, the ideal circumstances that need to take place for every driver, to advance beyond where I have them slotted. So we'll go through the whole thing. I'm going to give you who I think is going to get eliminated in each round. And like I said, what needs to take place if they want to go further, and so forth. So let's just go through the Cup Series playoffs just as far as the tracks we're going to. So the round of 16, we've got Darlington this weekend. Going to be a fantastic race, I think. Then you've got Gateway, and then you got Bristol as the elimination race. Round of 12, you've got New Hampshire. Then you have Kansas, and then you have the Charlotte Roval. Then the round of 8, you have Las Vegas, Talladega. We're going to get to that in a minute. And then Martinsville. And then obviously Phoenix is the championship. I think it's borderline psychotic that we have the Talladega in the round of 8. Take that for what you will. We don't know what the format's going to be next year, but it is slotted to be the same race next year, which I don't know who's making that decision, but they need to be fired. All right, let's get into this video before I say anything more harsh than that. All right, so as far as my round of 16 eliminations, first off, by the way, anybody can be eliminated in that first round if they have enough bad races. But, I think the top 4 are pretty safe. The top even 6 are probably relatively safe, though I do have SVG going out. The 4 drivers I have getting eliminated in the first round are Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Ross Chastain. So both of the Trackhouse cars get eliminated, and then Austin Dillon and Josh Berry. I think this is a pretty easy one. I think Austin Dillon has not been good except for the past few weeks. And frankly, I don't expect him to be... Well, actually, I do think if he's going to advance beyond this round, it's going to be because he does well at Darlington. I don't think he's going to do very well at Gateway, and I certainly don't think he's going to do anything at Bristol. Yeah, I think if he can replicate something like that, I think it was the fall of 2020 or fall of 2021 when he finished, I think it was second to Kevin Harvick in that race where Martin Truex and Chase Elliott got tangled up in that final green flag run. That's the only way I see Austin Dillon moving beyond this round, and if he does get beyond this round, he ain't going any further than that. Josh Berry. Look, I mean, other than that Las Vegas win, where has Josh Berry been all year? Let's just be real. And do I expect any of this to change in the next 3 races? I just don't. I don't. SVG, this might be a bad take for me, and because of the playoff points he's accumulated. But dog, I just don't see it happening. I don't think he's going to do anything at Darlington. I think he'll probably finish laps down. Same probably at Gateway, and then maybe have a decent run at Bristol, and that's a big maybe. I just don't think it's going to happen for SVG. God bless him, but it ain't going to happen. The one I do think has a chance to get out of this round is Ross Chastain, but I don't know. I mean, I just look at the next group of drivers and I ask myself, is Ross Chastain really better than these guys right now? And I just don't think so. And that's not to say that's not really an indictment on Ross Chastain, because I do think Chastain's a beast, but I just don't think he's better than these next 4 drivers I've got getting eliminated. So I do think those are going to be the 4 that get eliminated in the first round. But similarly to SVG, or not to SVG, similarly to Austin Dillon, I do think if Chastain gets off to a good start at Darlington, he does have a chance to advance. I'm not betting on it, but I think that's his best route. Round of 12, let's get into it. So round of 12, I have Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, which might be an interesting one to talk about, and Austin Cindric getting eliminated. Let's start with Cindric. I actually think if Talladega was in this round, I was thinking about putting Cindric in the round of 8, but I remembered that Talladega's in that next round. I don't think it's going to happen. Though the one thing he will have potentially in his favor is if he can do anything at Gateway, because he obviously has that Gateway win. And I know that's in the first round, but if he can, build up a big buffer there, maybe there's a route. But as far as the round of 8 or the round of 12, I don't see it happening for Cindric. Alex Bowman, Alex Bowman's one I really considered putting in the round of 8, but I don't know. I just don't think the tracks play out amazing for him. I mean, I don't know. I just the fact that they barely snuck in the way they did doesn't give me much confidence to begin with. I do think they'll get past the first round. I think they are consistent enough, especially compared to those 4 I have going out. I think he's consistent enough to get past that. So we'll see. And he could just go on a tear and get the round of 8. That's completely in the cards. But as far as do I think he's hotter than some of these other guys right now? I don't. I just don't. Joey Logano, another guy who I think his ceiling in this playoffs is winning the championship. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. Though, I was breaking it down earlier. A lot of the tracks do work out really well for him in this playoffs. The problem is the speed. The speed's not there right now. I mean, you could say, oh well, he was running at the front of the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and then wrecked from the lead. I don't care. I don't care. Is the intermediate speed there? I mean, yeah, he finished ninth, I think it was, at Kansas, and he has Kansas wins before. But do I think he's gonna beat somebody like a Byron, a Hamlin, or a Blaney at Kansas? No, I don't. And I don't think he's gonna be able to point his way into that next round, unless maybe something crazy happens. Which obviously something crazy is gonna happen, but it's a matter of what crazy thing happens. I just don't think Logano's gonna get past it. And then Tyler Reddick, we've talked about it all year. I think the decline of Tyler Reddick compared to last season is just astonishing to me. I think a lot of that is the drama at 23XI with the whole lawsuit thing. I really do think it partially on that. And I think, given the rumors we've been hearing the past day or two, where's Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace potentially racing next year? That's one to watch. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't honestly know. But yeah, Tyler Reddick. I mean, if he can get to this round, I think Kansas is a great opportunity. But that's probably it. Maybe the Roval, but even then, everybody's talked about Tyler Reddick on the road courses, but I don't know. I don't think does anybody have anything for SVG on the road courses right now? Probably not. I don't think SVG's getting past the first round, but I don't know. I just don't I don't. My gut is telling me Tyler Reddick ain't going beyond this. All right, round of 8. My eliminations are Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, and Chase Briscoe. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'll just read off my championship 4 then, and we're just gonna get into every single one of these drivers. My championship 4: Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. Look, you can make a great argument for Bell being in the championship 4. You could really do it, especially off prior history. But where has that team been since Phoenix? Where has that team been for the last 3 months? That's the problem, is I just can't confidently say that they have the speed. And I think I could even make the argument it is generous putting them in the round of 8. I could make a strong argument that Bowman should probably be in that round of 8. But because of the point situation, but because of how Bowman is also kind of limping into the playoffs right now, I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it with Bell at the moment. Though if Bell was to get hot, I mean, I think anybody from the round of 8 on is a championship contender. So being eliminated in this round is not an indictment on the driver or the team. It's just the reality of the format we're dealing with. So Christopher Bell, and I kind of look at these tracks too. Vegas will be a good track for Bell, theoretically. Will Talladega be? I don't think so, personally. And then we saw how Martinsville went last year and what it took for him have a chance to get in last year. I don't know why, because I thought Bell was actually kind of good at Martinsville, at least in the recent memory, and then just kind of put up a stinker last fall. So I don't know. I really think it's the tracks that really do it for me. Uh, I really think if you had like Homestead, is if you swapped Homestead out for Talladega, like if you swapped out Talladega for Homestead, my English is just completely fantastic at the moment. If you put Homestead where Talladega is in that round, maybe you're talking Christopher Bell gets in, but I don't know. The speed, if he's gonna do anything in this playoffs, the speed needs to show up quick. And I do think the round of 12 with that New Hampshire race, that's a big one, I think, for Christopher Bell to get some momentum going, because I do think he's absolutely getting past round one. And I think if he's able to win that New Hampshire race, that's the type of thing that can potentially propel him to the championship four. But I need to see it to believe it. Bubba Wallace. This is another one. I'm being a little generous putting him in the round of 8 over somebody like Bowman or maybe even a Logano. But I think the speed's there to get to this point for Bubba Wallace. We've said it in relation to Reddick. How's this outside noise how has it been affecting 2311? And if we get developments, how is that even going to further potentially affect that team? I don't know. But as far as the speed goes, I think Bubba Wallace has got round of 8 speed. I certainly do think that. And I think the tracks, relatively speaking, line up pretty well. And I think if he gets to this point, they set up even better. I mean, look at Talladega. I think he'd probably have a decent run at Las Vegas. And then Martinsville, I mean, he's been great on short tracks recently. So I think it's really the speed and the tracks for Bubba. Whether something crazy doesn't happen to him, or if drama doesn't continue to ensue and snowball over at 2311, that's why I think Bubba's going to get to this round. I don't think he'll get to the championship four, but I think I look at like a Kansas. Kansas is somewhere I think he could go on and win. Obviously, he's won there before. But, yeah, I think Bubba's got round of 8 speed. It's really the speed for me and not making the mistakes. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Chase Elliott, okay, hear me out here. So from this point on, every driver I talk about, I think could win the Cup championship. I honestly don't think at the moment Bell's in the position to do it. With all due respect to Wallace, I don't think Phoenix is I don't think Phoenix is a track that I see him winning at or finishing above the Champ 4 contenders at. But, I just don't think I think these next 6 are in a league of their own at the moment. Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott could easily be a championship 4 driver. It's a matter of getting a win, because I mean, that's the thing with Elliott. He's finishing great every week. But when you get to that round of 8, you got to win. And maybe he does. Maybe he ends up winning and getting his way in, or maybe he ends up as that 4th car on points. But I don't know. I think like I said, I think any of these Elliott and through the end of this video, I think all those drivers can win. I'm just not picking him to get out of the round of 8. I think the other drivers are significantly better. Not significantly, but at the moment have more speed. Chase Briscoe. It was really hard to leave him out of the championship 4, which is kind of crazy to say. Because coming into the season, we all thought it was going to be more of a, you don't want to say development year, especially at a team like that, and especially in the 19 car, but it did feel like a little bit of a developmental year for the first 6-8 weeks of this year. And then they went on to win every pole for 2 months. And then I was like, all right, they've got this thing figured out. He gets his win at Pocono. He's got a lot of second place finishes or top 5s where he probably could have and should have won. I think Chase Briscoe could very easily be in the championship 4. Very easily. Just as easily as Chase Elliott. How the round shakes up, I don't know. I think he could win. I think Chase Briscoe can win anywhere. I think Chase Briscoe can win any week this season. Will he do it in the round of 8? That's the reason I'm not picking him, because I think, excuse me, I think the round of 8, I actually already know who I'm picking to win those races, and they're in the championship 4 already. So yeah, I'm just not. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think next year could be a big championship contender year for Chase Briscoe. I just think it's a little much to ask for him to beat the next 4 drivers we're gonna talk about. So not an indictment on those guys. It's just I hold these next 4 in such high regard. That's why they're in the championship 4 for me. All right, Ryan Blaney. So we're getting in the championship 4 here. Ryan Blaney. I mean, I look at every track on this playoff schedule, and I see no reason why Blaney can't win almost every one of them, especially in the form he's in at the moment. I think there will be a hiccup or two in the playoffs because, he enters on such a hot streak. Do I expect him to finish in the top 10 every race the next 10 weeks? No, I don't. But do I think he's going to run good enough and probably snag a couple wins to get his way here? Yeah, I do. I think he probably wins Gateway. I think I don't know if he'll win a race in the round of 12, but I think he'll win Martinsville in the round of 8. I think he will, and then get to championship 4. We've seen him win. Well, we actually have not seen him win in Phoenix, but we have seen him win the Cup title in Phoenix, just not winning the race. Um, yeah, so I think Ryan Blaney has as good a shot as anybody, especially given the runs. Like I just said, he has not won at Phoenix, but look at his Phoenix runs though. He's always in the top 5. It's like one of the most guaranteed bets in this sport when you go to Phoenix. Ryan Blaney in the top 5. So I have him in my champ 4, and I think he's got a fantastic shot to win it. William Byron, you know, I would make the argument. Well, it's why am I even have to sit here to make the argument? He won the regular season title. He was the most consistent driver up till this point. So it's really hard to argue. And I think that team is just going like this at the moment because there was a little bit of a stretch where they were making a lot of mistakes, taking themselves out of contention. But I'm telling you, man, the speed is unbelievable for that team. It feels like every week they're running top 5 almost the entire race. That's what it feels like for them. And, you know, say what you want. I think my prediction is I think Byron wins the Talladega race in the round of 8. That's how I think he's going to get here. Though it could be anybody in that race. But and I really almost hesitated to put Byron on this list because of the drama of that Martinsville race last year. But at the end of the day, I think he's been too good and too consistent. I think Rudy Fugle is too good of a crew chief to let them slip up like that again. I think they're making the champ 4. And I think they've got a great shot to win it. Denny Hamlin, Denny Hamlin, he's a guy we've been talking about all year. Is this his year? Blah, 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 this, blah, blah, that. We've heard it so many times before. I think he's second to Byron as far as the consistency goes. He's running top 10, top 5 every week. Obviously the past few weeks have been a little bit chaotic, so I don't know where I know he didn't finish in the top 5 at Daytona this past week. I'm forgetting what he did at Richmond, but the point is, Hamlin's been fantastic. Hamlin has been vintage Denny Hamlin. Everybody came into the season saying, oh, Denny's going to fall off. Denny's not a championship contender anymore. Bullshit. That's what I've got to say. Denny Hamlin, I think he's the best driver in Cup at the moment, personally. I know Byron's got the consistency. I know the consensus answer would be Larson. Larson's been on a little bit of a downturn. We're going to get to Larson in a moment. But Denny Hamlin, from pure speed and pure consistency and actually winning races, there's nobody better, I don't think. At the moment, I don't think so. I mean, if Larson had rattled off like 6-7 wins, maybe, or if Larson maybe didn't go on a downturn after the Indy 500 Coke 600 double, maybe I'd be saying him. But I think at the very moment, if you're asking me for my number 1 in the NASCAR power rankings, it's Denny Hamlin. It's Denny Hamlin. Come on. And, we obviously know the situation with the championships and the lack of thereof, but if it's going to happen, I think it's got to be now. And especially with the drama off the racetrack. Imagine if he wins it. That would be nuts. heading right into the drama that we're expecting in this fall. That would be quite the storyline, wouldn't it be? Um, no, I think Denny Hamlin, I mean, especially Phoenix, it was a photo finish between him and Bell. I think it was him, Bell, and Larson were in the top three there in that photo finish at Phoenix earlier this year, which I was at. But yeah, I think Denny, like I said, I think Chase Elliott could be in the Final Four. I think Chase Briscoe could be in the Final Four and could very easily bump somebody like Hamlin out of this. But I just think this is his last shot to do it. I really do. I mean, not to say next year he couldn't do it again, but like I said, we don't know what's coming to that lawsuit. Is Denny Hamlin a Cup driver next year? That's a serious question. People need to start asking themselves. Is Denny Hamlin going to be racing in the NASCAR Cup Series next year? Can you guarantee that? I cannot. I cannot guarantee that. So I think Denny knows that this might be it. This really could be it. And I think he's going for it, and I think he's making the champ four. Let's get into Kyle Larson before we give my championship winner. So Kyle Larson, it has not been the greatest stretch. No two ways about it. It has not been very good, really, for a month and a half, or not a month and a half, 2.5 months, maybe even 3, going back as far as it needs to go. Really, since that double attempt, I mean, I don't think he's won. Has he won? I don't think he has. And I mean, sure, he might have some top 10s. He might have a top 5 sprinkled into there. Has there been a race in the past 2 months? Has there been a race where you've sat there and said, yeah, I think Kyle Larson's got the fastest car, or I think Kyle Larson is in contention for winning? I'm just trying to think. I don't. Okay, maybe. Okay, you can make the argument that Brickyard 400. Other than that, is there another one? I just don't know. I don't know. And, I'm getting very pessimistic as I'm sitting here saying Larson's going to be in the championship four, which is a little bit counterintuitive. But I don't know. I think he's going to get there. I think he's going to get there because I think he's going to win the Las Vegas race. I think Denny's going to be the one who points his way in at Martinsville, and I think Larson wins at Las Vegas. Because look at the way that Las Vegas race played out. He was dominating. The 75% of that race, and then some crazy strategy stuff takes place, and next thing you know, you got Ryan Preece and Josh Berry at the front of the field, and somehow Josh Berry wins that Las Vegas race. So I don't know. I really think Larson's going to win that Las Vegas race, and I think he's going to get there very easily. But will he win? I just don't know. I mean, Phoenix, I know he's got the potential to win at Phoenix because he's done it before, but he hasn't done it in the next gen era. So I don't know. I really don't know. I think this is a really wide open championship. If I'm being completely honest, there's no. I mean, and I think the NASCAR championship's always a little bit wide open because of the format, but I think those top 6, like I said, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. I really think that's the group your champion is going to come from. All right, let's get into my Cup champion. He's going to do it for the first time. It's going to be Denny Hamlin. I'm going with Denny. I think with the outside noise and the outside drama, I think he's going to deliver. I really do. I think if you get Denny Hamlin in that championship 4, nothing's stopping him. Nothing is going to stop him. The only person, and I got him written down here as my runner-up, I think Ryan Blaney is going to be the runner-up, but I'm picking Denny Hamlin, and I'm going to probably look back on this and think I'm a crazy person for doing this. I don't care. I'm picking Denny. I've thought Denny since, I'm trying to think back, which race did he win? Was that Dover? I think he won Dover. Whenever he won his last race, I really just sat there and said to myself, I really think this is it. I think he's going to do it. And there's plenty of arguments against it. Plenty. And I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them, but I really, really think the racing gods, because of circumstances happening outside the racetrack and, where Hamlin is at in his career, I think this is it. I think this is his last dance. I think he's going to go out on top. Now, whether he's back here next year, I'm not. That's a story for another day. I think this is going to be it for Denny Hamlin. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to hoist that Cup championship, and it's going to solidify him as one of the greatest to ever do it in the sport. Obviously, I won't put him on Mount Rushmore, but I think this puts him. I would say he's a top 10 NASCAR driver right now, and I think you might be able to bump him up a few spots on that all time ranking. Depending, I'd have to go in there and look really, but I think it absolutely would solidify him as a top 10 driver of all time. Where he ranks in that, I'd have to go and look. But I think this is the year. I think Denny Hamlin gets it done. Call me a crazy person. I probably am a crazy person, but that's what I'm going with. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. That's all we've got for y'all today. Please like and subscribe, and tune in for the first race of the NASCAR playoffs at Darlington this weekend. It's going to be electric. Take care, y'all, and God bless.